Breakups are never easy, but when it happens to a couple the world thought would last forever, like Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, it hits harder than anyone expects. After their shocking separation, Keith Urban broke his silence with a confession that stripped away the perfect image of their marriage. So what really led to this sudden divorce? Who would ever want to lose Nicole Kidman? Let's uncover the truth behind Hollywood's latest heartbreak. On September 30th, Nicole officially filed for divorce, sending shockwaves through fans and the entire entertainment world. The beloved actress didn't stay quiet. She had her own side to share. But before any of this unfolded, Keith had already hinted that things weren't perfect. When he publicly admitted that he'd blown his marriage to Nicole Kidman, it wasn't wrapped in PR spin or polished Hollywood charm. It was brutally honest. For years, people held them up as proof that a global movie star and a country icon could actually make it work. But with one simple, unfiltered confession, Keith tore down the illusion and admitted the painful truth. It fell apart, and most of it was on him. Looking back, maybe the signs were always there. Remember that 2024 AFI tribute where Keith got emotional and thanked Nicole for saving him during his darkest times? Back then, everyone saw it as romantic. Now, in hindsight, it feels more like a quiet admission. He had relied on her too much, and deep down, he knew it. What stunned everyone wasn't just what Keith said, but how he said it. No press team, no official statement. Just a man speaking from his heart, tired, remorseful, and unable to hold it in any longer. "I blew it to smithereens," Keith confessed. Simple, messy, painfully honest. There was no PR polish, no attempt to rewrite the narrative. For once, he wasn't hiding behind his guitar, his lyrics, or that easy country charm. He just owned it. And the timing? That's what made it hurt even more, because by then, the divorce papers were already filed. Fans and media outlets went into a frenzy, dissecting everything from skipped red carpets to strained smiles in interviews, even floating whispers about another woman. But Keith's confession cut through all that noise. He didn't confirm every rumor, but he made one thing unmistakably clear. Nicole wasn't the only one holding up the weight of their marriage. Reactions came fast. Some applauded him for his honesty. Finally, a celebrity taking responsibility instead of dodging blame. Others rolled their eyes, saying the confession came too late to matter. And then there were those who just felt heartbroken. Because if Keith and Nicole, the couple everyone thought had it figured out, couldn't make it work, what hope was there for anyone else in Hollywood? For Nicole, though, it had to sting. Insiders say she truly fought for the marriage, shielding their kids from the chaos, standing by him through rehab, career slumps, and the rough patches no one saw. Hearing Keith admit he blew it probably didn't shock her. But hearing it publicly, that made it final. It wasn't just their private heartbreak anymore. It was official, written in headlines. Keith's confession wasn't just about regret. It was an unfiltered acknowledgement of truth. Maybe closure, maybe guilt. Maybe just the need to finally say out loud what he'd known all along. Because the hardest part of a breakup isn't always accepting it's over. It's confronting why. And with Keith, people couldn't stop wondering if the why was just about the marriage, or if it had something, or someone else behind it. Because let's be honest, when a Hollywood power couple falls apart, rumors never wait, and in Keith and Nicole's case, the whispers began almost instantly. Was there really another woman? Or was that just the easiest story to believe? Or was this just speculation doing what speculation does best? Filling in the blanks with juicy headlines and half-truths. Because soon enough, one name started circulating everywhere. Maggie Ball, Keith's 25-year-old guitarist. She'd been touring with him for months, and fans began picking up on what they called moments. A lingering glance, a shared laugh, and then came the concert that lit the internet on fire. Keith switched up the lyrics of The Fighter mid-performance and slipped her name into the song. That single moment was enough. Clips of him pointing toward her on stage flooded TikTok. Fan edits, reaction videos, conspiracy threads. Everywhere you looked, someone had an opinion. The story wrote itself. The heartbroken wife, the younger guitarist, the on-stage chemistry. The internet didn't hesitate to turn whispers into wildfire. And when Maggie's own father made a vague comment that sounded just shy of denial, the rumors only grew louder. What could have been harmless stage banter suddenly looked like something much bigger. But here's the thing. No one has confirmed anything. Not Keith, not Maggie, and Nicole. She's remained completely silent. And that silence sometimes speaks the loudest. The timeline didn't help either. Nicole filed for divorce on September 30th, officially ending 19 years of marriage. Her reason? Irreconcilable differences and ongoing marital difficulties, but insiders whispered that the couple had already been living separate lives long before the paperwork dropped. Sources close to Keith say he'd quietly moved into his own place months prior. And to those who knew them well, the split didn't come as a shock. It felt inevitable. Still, the talk of another woman cut the deepest. People close to Nicole said she felt blindsided, betrayed even. After all, she had stood by him through the storms, his addiction battles, the career lows, the rehab, the rebuilding. To watch the man she'd fought for be linked to someone else so quickly, that had to hurt. And fans naturally started connecting the dots. The confession, I blew it to smithereens. The timing of the divorce. The whispers about Maggie. It all felt like more than coincidence. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was truth. Or maybe, just maybe, it was the weight of something Keith had been carrying long before any of us noticed. But then again, only Keith knows, because the other woman isn't always another person. Sometimes it's the fame, the touring, the exhaustion, the endless chase for perfection that leaves no room for real life. And in Hollywood, that might be the most dangerous love affair of all. But then again, only Keith knows. And here's the bigger picture. The other woman doesn't always have to mean an actual person. Sometimes it's the life you build. The one that looks perfect from the outside but quietly eats away at everything real on the inside. For Keith, that other woman might have been the road, the stage lights, the endless applause that reminded him who he was, even when he didn't recognize himself anymore. Because fame has a strange way of demanding love's space. It whispers, just one more show, one more tour, one more moment in the spotlight, until you realize what you've left behind isn't just a home. It's someone who waited for you to come back different this time. Nicole waited through the storms, through rehab, through heartbreak. She wasn't just his wife. She was the quiet strength behind every comeback story he ever told. But love gets tired too. And when someone gives and gives until there's nothing left, sometimes walking away isn't betrayal. It's survival. So maybe the other woman wasn't Maggie or anyone else at all. Maybe it was everything Keith thought he needed to feel alive. Success, freedom, validation. While Nicole was slowly losing the man she married to the world he loved more. Still, the whispers about Maggie Ball refused to die down. She was young, talented, vibrant. The kind of energy Keith once had before life got heavy. Fans noticed the way he smiled when she played, the inside jokes on stage, the small things that never seem like much until you start connecting dots. At that concert where he changed the lyrics of The Fighter to include her name, maybe it was just a spontaneous moment. But the internet doesn't forgive spontaneity. It screenshots, captions, and builds stories. Within hours, TikTok had theories, Twitter had evidence, and the tabloids had headlines. Even Maggie's own father added fuel to the fire with a half-joking comment that said too much by saying too little. And suddenly the image of a heartbroken Keith Urban turned into something far messier. The story of a man who might have fallen into the same traps that fame always sets. But the truth? No one knows. Keith stayed silent. Maggie stayed silent. And Nicole, she mastered silence long ago. Her quiet has always spoken louder than any public statement ever could. The timing, though, made everything look worse. September 30th, the date Nicole filed for divorce. 19 years of marriage marked with one phrase, irreconcilable differences. To the world, that's just paperwork. But behind those words hide all the nights of distance, unspoken conversations, and moments that didn't make the press.